We were all mesmerized by the event unfolding in January of 2009 as U.S. Airways Flight 1549 dove into the Hudson River. And today we are honored to have the last passenger off that plane in our studio this morning. We're happy to welcome Dave Sanderson to the show. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Welcome to Florida.
Thank you very much.
So you're you're partnering with the Red Cross, they of Central Florida, who's helped bring you to the Florida and the Bay Area this morning. Talk about your partnership with them and why they are kind of a part of your story now.
Well, thank you. It really started that day on the Hudson River because when I got to shore in New Jersey, there was a gentleman with a Red Cross blanket. But later that night, when I had no clothes, I had nothing left, someone from the Red Cross went out and got some clothes for me to wear. But most importantly, the next morning, the CEO of the Red Cross in Charlotte was with my family, taking care of them before I got back. So I had 3 Red Cross experiences. So it was natural for me to get connected to the Red Cross, but then I was able to speak for the Red Cross in Charlotte and help them on several things. And now I travel the country speaking on behalf of the Red Cross.
And that's what you're doing here over the next couple of days as well. So tell me, how has your life changed? You were in sales before this, right?
Most definitely.
You are now a survivor. And you are now spreading a message of what? What is your message? What do you like to tell people when you speak?
There's a lot of different lessons from that day. I think it's a perfect business case for teamwork, leadership, persistence, and really how to manage your mind in a crisis, which the Red Cross handles every single moment of every single day. So that's really the key messages I try to relay to people is you can survive a disaster, but it's all about how to manage your mind through it and don't get too emotional. Just take things as they are and do the right thing.
Were you able to do that when this happens? Take us back to that day. What do you remember most? Because again, memories fade and there's, you may not remember every single second. So what does stick out to you when you think of that day and that?
The one moment that sticks out to me, and I really talk a lot about, is when my game plan to get off the plane was get to the aisle, get up and get out. That's exactly what I thought. But when I got to the aisle, something happened, only changed that day, but probably changed where I was going. It's my mom, who had passed away in 1997, kicked into my head, and I heard her say in my head, if you do the right thing, God will take care of you. And the right thing for me was you help other people first. So I went towards the back of the plane. I was in seat 15A, went back in the plane, see if we needed help.
Is the plane in the water at this point?
The plane's in the water. It's already waist deep in water in the back of the plane. So I went back to see if we needed help. We got people out. Then I started making my way out. But when I got to 10F to exit, there was no room on the wing for me.
And that's where that iconic picture where you say everybody's standing on the wings.
I wasn't on the wing. I was
plane.
hanging out of the plane, waist deep in 36-degree water for 7 minutes.
Wow. So in that moment, what are you thinking at that point? Where do you go? I mean, are you thinking there's chance of survival?
At that point, I really wasn't thinking. I was on an in-go mode. The moment it really got to me, though, was when I got to the ferry finally. And by that time, the adrenaline was gone, and I was so cold. I can't explain how cold 36-degree water is, but I couldn't even think. But that was the moment I really thought, I may not make this.
Do you keep in touch with a lot of the passengers? Obviously, there's been a lot said and talked about the pilot, what a great job he did. Talk about your relationship with him and maybe some of the other passengers.
Well, both Captain Sullenberger and Captain Skiles, I've had the honor to be around a lot, and Captain Sullenberger and I actually shared the stage a few months ago, and basically the first time to share the front of the plane, back of the plane story. So he and I stay in contact. A couple of the passengers I was in the hospital with stay in contact. I know most everybody from the right side of the plane. Because that's where we all ended up. So who went out to my side, the New Jersey side, went out the right side of the plane. So I have connections with them likewise.
Yeah. Talk about your injuries. You said you did have hypothermia that day.
That's what I got into the hospital for, because my temperature was 94, so I had hypothermia. And I got a little bit of a jet fuel in my eye, which most of it's gone. But that's there was a picture of me that was taken in the hospital bed. My eyes were like shut, and that's because it was like itching. And we found out later something was in my eye.
Yeah. Talk about your new love and appreciation, I think, for the rescue personnel and, again, people like the American Red Cross who step in, at the height of an emergency and the height of when, really they're kind of most needed.
Well, I tell them I talk that Sullenberger and Skiles get all the credit getting the plane down, the passenger and crew getting people out, but the real heroes of that day were the first responders. Not only the New York ferry, but the Red Cross on both the New York and New Jersey side. And in the movie, one of the things I was most proud of the movie is Sully, is that the real first responders from the Red Cross were in the movie. The people there that day finally got their acknowledgement and were in the movie. So I'm really happy about that.
So what do you hope, again, as you kind of talk around the country, what is that message? What do you want people to do? What's the action that they can take or that you hope they take after hearing your story?
Well, 2 things. Number 1, do the right thing. Whatever the right thing is, just do it, and it'll probably play out well for you. But second, second, really try to control and manage your mind through the crisis. Don't get emotional. And I think that day, no one really got too emotional. I think that was one of the big contributors to the outcome of that day.
And how do you do that? I don't, I mean, I know adrenaline kicks in.
It does kick in.
I mean,
it's all about, I think it's all about focus. And what you tell yourself. Some people tell themselves, get all worked up. Your internal dialogue, to me, and that's how I manage my mind that day, is through my internal dialogue.
Well, and I love too, we didn't get to what you brought this morning, but this kind of symbolizes.
Well, this was a blanket that the American Red Cross gave to me when we got to shore in New Jersey. So I carry a blanket with me everywhere I go to sort of just tell people they're there in every disaster, whether it's here during hurricanes and fires, all the way to Orlando and what happened last fall in Orlando.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We know you're a busy man this morning and the rest couple of days. So thank you for being here, and God bless you and your family and the rest of your story. We'll see where it goes from here.
God bless you too. Thank you.
Thank you.